extend their belief into the possible application of their thinking on different situations. So I believe, therefore, that the jinn, whatever they are, they could be, I don't deny the fact, that among other things they could also be an ethereal type of existing being, which have their own functions and their own purposes. But the jinns which came to Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam and became Muslims, they were a people of a tribe, which was a mountainous tribe, and which did not want to be seen by the people there around. That is why they chose the night time, and they camped outside Medina. And while they camped, they also built fires and cooked things, because when Sahaba visited that place next morning, they saw the signs of all these things. So they were human beings. And that is why they also say that look at us, our stupidity. We used to think that after Hadhrat Yusuf al-Islam, Allah will send no prophet. So that means they were a people who belonged to the people of Joseph. And there are many in Arabia and other places who particularly believed in Joseph and followed him. Out of the Israelite prophets, many people got divided into factions. Some like one prophet more, and some the other, like Jonah's followers, are still found. So from that reference, I believe that they didn't say that. They didn't name Joseph. The name of Joseph is mentioned in another verse. They only say that look at us, we used to believe that Allah will not send another prophet. How stupid we were. And there you are, we have just met a prophet, Now I related it to Joseph because in another verse this is said about Joseph as well. That as long as he lived, you opposed him. When he died, you started saying God will send no prophet after him. So because they also said that we used to believe there will be no prophet, so that is why I connected them with Yusuf al-Islam. Maybe they were under the influence of that teaching, but they were a people who did not want to be seen publicly in that area. So that is why they came at night and they camped early morning before anybody was out and about. And they, of course, were mukallafin. It was essential, necessary and essential for them to accept a prophet when it is sent, because they had to be human beings. So the word jinn, as it is also applicable to great people, people who hide, people who belong to rough and rebellious type of people, rebellious tribes, people of the mountains, all these are called jinns. So now, to summarize this, what I say is that it is possible for a special type of existence which is neither angelic nor human to exist separately, and they may be referred to as jinn. But there is no evidence whatsoever from any book that either prophets are sent to them from among them, or human prophets also deliver their message to the jinn. Nor is Sharia made to measure them. This is the verse from Surah Al-An'am. It says, Ya Ma'ashar al-Bismillahir-Rahmanir-Rahim, Ya Ma'ashar al-Jinn wal-Insi, Alam yatikum rusulun minkum, yaqussuna alaykum ayati wa yunzirunakum liqa'a yawmikum haza, qalu shahidna ala anfusina wa gharratuhum al-hayatu dunya wa shahidu ala anfusihim annahum kanu kafirin. Now, this verse, although speaks of jinn as well, including men, but there is a positive evidence that the interpretation which Sayyid Ilmi Shafi Sahib suggested is the only acceptable interpretation. What he suggested was that this ayat in fact is a proof that the jinn who are addressed here are human beings. They are not anything other than the human beings. Because if prophets are separately sent to the jinn and the bashar, then there is no record in the Quran, and on the doomsday we do not find human beings as separately being brought to questioning and jinn appearing separately for being questioned. So that means Ya Ma'shar al-Jinn applies to a type of people, a section of the people who are human beings. Now this reminds me of some other verses which are very similar in nature and which indicate that the people addressed are not these ethereal jinn but human beings in fact. And it starts like this, Ya Ma'shar al-Jinn. It is from Surah Ar-Rahman. Ya Ma'shar al-Jinn wal-Insi in istata'tum an tanfuzu min aqtari as-samawati wal-ard fanfuzu la tanfuzuna illa bi-sultan fabi-ayyi ala rabbikum tukazziban. So what is meant by here Ya Ma'shar al-Jinn wal-Ins? What is meant there is perhaps what is meant here. The word jinn, according to the Quranic usage, can be proved to mean the proletariats, the bourgeois, the capitalists, the big people, the great nations. And the word ins, as against this, can be interpreted as the proletariats, the common people. And both have leaders. When the world got divided into two fractions, one that of the bourgeois and the other that of the common people, they also had their leaders. You know, the ones who ruled and commanded them. And so also the bourgeois, the capitalists had the same. So the address here is in fact to the leaders of the common people as well as to the big people. Leaders of the poor nations as well as to the rich nations. That from among every one of you, whichever section of human society you belong, we have been sending prophets. This is an interpretation which I believe is not only applicable, this is the only interpretation which is valid here in this context. I refer to the other verse. There also it is quite clear that Ya Ma'shar al-Jinn and Ya Ma'shar al-Ins indicates the two divisions of mankind. Because there it is very clear that it speaks of a time when it would be possible for human beings to think of jumping out of the corners or the limits of the earth and heaven and earth and go across. As long as that was not possible, the Quranic challenge is meaningless. So it was a challenge for the future. Otherwise, the human being, at least about the jinn they could say, that they can jump up and go. But about human beings, they could not take a jump of 8 feet high. On what could they sit and ride? There are no aeroplanes either. So that shows that this challenge that if you want to go across the limits of the universe, of Aqtari Samawati wal Ard, the periphery of the whole universe, try to do it. Show it. And you will certainly fail to do it because يُرْسَلُ عَلَيْكُمَا شَوَاظٌ وَنُحَاسٌ مِنْ نَارٍ فَلَا تَنْتَصِرَانِ. The fire of different parts would be bolted upon you, it is sent against you, and you will not be able to cross these barriers. Now, this is indicative of a future age, and an age where mankind would be divided into big people and the ordinary people. Bourgeois, and proletariats, socialists and capitalists. Both would try. This is a prophecy.